Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready?
Hey everybody, it's Jeff. Glad everybody's here. Hope you're having a great Sunday. It's snowing a little bit here tonight. Well, I say tonight, it's it's 4:19 p.m. and it looks like it's like fucking 8 o'clock at night. That's that's how much sun we get now. And it was kind of partly sunny all day before, but now that the sun's set and temperature dropped a little bit, now we're getting some slight snowing going on out there, but we're not supposed to get much. In fact, tomorrow's supposed to be even nicer. So hey, I'm not complaining. We certainly needed the snow on the ground that we still have. I mean, because now that the school up the street put their holiday lights out, it doesn't look right unless there's snow on the ground. Okay, so I'm glad that we did get some snow, because now it looks appropriate for the season and the holiday. So hey, I'm not complaining. It doesn't really make the driving any dangerous, because on the pavement it melts quicker on the pavement than it does on people's yards. So it looks nice. And I went and had something to eat over at Applebee's, and while I was sitting there eating, you hear people all around me talking and stuff, and there was this guy, looked like he had his family with him or something, and there was another fellow, I'm not sure, maybe he was just a friend or something, or I don't know who he was, but he was sitting there talking kind of loud and everything, and he was saying how, oh, I'm not gonna get married. Christ, you hang yourself, you get married. And I was like, I remember, growing up hearing that all the time from, my grandparents and my father and his brothers, and, everybody telling you get married, it's, and I'm thinking, why do people say that for? I mean, if they got married to somebody, they weren't thinking that, right? They weren't thinking that. So why is it that, when after people get married, they start talking to each other, like it's been a curse, even living alone, it's not easy, okay? And I can't blame a spouse, for the difficulties that I've had to endure, going through, life and stuff. I mean, I've never been married, okay? I've had, a few girlfriends here and there, but I've never actually could just say, marriage was a bad thing, because, hey, it's you have your ups and downs whether you're married or you're not, okay? It really is. And, when you introduce another life into your life, then they bring their ups and downs with them, okay? And so, I mean, if you're not, stable enough mentally to be able to handle when other people have bad days or, bad experiences and stuff, I mean, maybe, just living on your own is just enough for you to handle. And you shouldn't get into a marriage, because, you introduce an added stressor in your life. Even, I mean, they call them stressors, when the things that are happening aren't bad, even something good can create a stress in itself, okay? So You know, when people have kids, that's stress. When people have a job, that's stress. When people have a wife or husband, that's stress. Whether it's a good day or a bad day, you know, there's always that. You know, there's a lot of things that add stress to people's lives. And, you know, and if you're not a person that likes stress, then you shouldn't really introduce yourself to a lot of variables, okay, out there. And, you know, that this kind of dovetails into what I'm going to be talking about here in this video, okay? And I'm going to start with this video segment here that I found, and I thought that this would be appropriate to start off here. There's a this isn't recent. This didn't happen recently. It's been a while, but I think about maybe less than a year. Some fucking guy goes to a fast food joint. He gets something to eat. And then it explodes into a big fucking problem because he bitched about something to do with chicken wings and stuff. So let's go to that video here, and then we'll come back and discuss it here a little bit.
Made quite a lot of content covering fast food freakouts where entitled stupid customers have an absolute meltdown and go on a rampage over trivial problems with their order. And they range from like goofy and silly to downright sad and tragic. Like the time a guy shot 2 Subway workers, killing one of them because they put too much mayonnaise on his sandwich. This evil, smooth-brain idiot actually took someone's life because they went a little heavy on a condiment. Jesus Christ. Mayonnaise may not be an instrument, but it was a death sentence for this worker, unfortunately. It's beyond tragic, and what's even sadder is just how common these kind of responses are in the fast food industry. That is far from the only case of someone losing their life to something super stupid like too much mayonnaise. And I know I've talked about that story in particular before and many others like it, and today I want to talk about another situation that happened a couple days ago, and this one has a whole video for it. And this video is shocking. Like, this is more shocking than the Into a Dhar-Mann film. It had my eyes wider than the first time I gazed upon a bare breast. It has so much going on over something so little. So I'll quickly give you the lore here, the motivation behind what you're about to see, so you can watch this video in a pure state of bewilderment over the reaction to something so insignificant. A customer goes into a restaurant late a couple nights ago and he orders chicken and waffles as well as fish and coleslaw. He is served and even appreciates the food, he eats it, and then leaves. He comes back 45 minutes later and says he actually wanted chicken wings instead of chicken tenders, and demands that they whip him up a fresh batch of chicken wings in order to satiate his gluttony. Well, the store's 5 minutes to closing, and they say that's not really, on the table here. That's not really in the cards. We're about to close, so we can't do that. The person in charge of the restaurant even offers a refund, which is beyond generous. This guy's a fucking saint. To even be offering a refund, even though he ate what he ordered and then came back to make a big hullabaloo over nothing. So he offers the refund, and then just asks for the card that was used to pay for it, so that way he could, give the money back. However, he noticed that there was a bag with chicken wings in it, but it was another customer's order whom was going to be served those chicken wings. And this fucking sets him off and leads to everything you're about to see in this video. I know the story I just told you is riveting. It's like a fucking Dr. Seuss book. And it actually happened. That is the motivation from everything I've read on the story behind this huge blow up here. Obviously, we're coming into the action after the first quarter here, so they're already in a bit of a scuffle. So we get to see him like lunging over the counter multiple times, grabbing like the payment processing unit, like fucking ripping it off, and then when he's unsuccessful there and falls off the counter, he runs to the door and rips it off the hinges. This man came in here with stupid strength, so he takes the door, rips it off the hinges almost effortlessly, as if he was like ripping a piece of paper. I imagine it had to just be all of the adrenaline because he's not that big of a guy, so he probably tore like half of his muscles in his arms just pulling that off so easily. Or maybe this is just how he powers up, like Popeye with his spinach. This guy, when he doesn't get his chicken wings, he goes into like fucking Superman mode. He becomes like some kind of invincible fucking Hulk.
Shit got real.
Now the restaurant worker is fighting back. He brings out like some kind of police baton, almost. I don't exactly know what it is, but he's got the stick out now, and he's ready to get a little crazy with it. So he chases him out there and starts like whacking him with it like he's swatting a fly. The goofball customer also tries to use that door he ripped off as some kind of weapon, so he tries to like almost swing it like a baseball bat there for a second before realizing it was way too heavy for that, and also the guy hits him with the stick. And then they go to the ground, so we get into the ground and pound phase of the boss fight.
Oh, my stars. He didn't know. Oh, he did not do that. Oh, dash.
The restaurant worker won on the ground game, I believe, and then even gets to claim his prize of the douchebag's phone, so he takes it and smashes it. Much to the dismay of the camera guy, he seemed like personally offended that this fucking asshole's phone got smashed. The way he acts makes it sound like he's stunned that such a dishonorable move was pulled during such an honorable fight. He's like, oh my goodness, now you've crossed a line. Everything up until this point was all good manners and by the book, textbook Knight's Honor Code, and then you go and smash his phone. A despicable display of sportsmanship. Like, what the fuck? The dude deserved to have his phone smashed, bare minimum, at the very least. Like, that was absolutely par for the course. And that's not where this stops. There's no audio here, so I'll just go ahead and tell you what you're looking at. It is the fucking guy crashing his company tow truck into the building and then scooting away. So he zooms on out of there, peels out. Now, of course, I'm no expert here, but using the company car to commit a crime is probably a pretty fucking dumb idea. Not that he was making good decisions before then either, but that has to be one of the most identifiable things you could possibly be driving in order for people to track you down. The fucking company tow truck, of all things. And he blasts it into the side of the building here, and then gets out. He gets the fuck out. What's crazy, though, is that he still hasn't been found. Despite the company tow truck being identified, the actual person, has still, as of right now of me recording this, hasn't been arrested for it or anything. How is that possible? There's a lot of damage to the tow truck itself, and I don't think he owns the business, because if he did, I doubt he'd be using his fucking tow truck as a goddamn missile. Like, whoever owns that business should have probably noticed by now that, wow, this tow truck's pretty fucked up. Well, what happened to it? And then, dots start getting connected, like, holy shit, my employee is that absolute menace that was just on the news for crashing a tow truck into the side of a restaurant. Well, not even the side, into the front door of a restaurant. Like, I don't know how we're at this stage where this guy is still getting away with it 2 days later.
The customer ripped the door off its hinges.
Grabbing the door, trying to come inside the store with the door.
They tussled outside the restaurant before the angry customer ran, but it wasn't over yet.
He jumped in his tow truck, then he slashed the whole building with his truck.
We're living in a day and age where we can get multiple angles of pretty much anything that happens out in the world, so we get a deeper look at what happens outside of the store here, as well as seeing the entire situation with the tow truck going right into the building. We've got, the Instagram angle from just boots on the ground guy who's there in person filming it on his phone, and then we have the security camera footage in order to give us the other side here, so we can catch every little detail, which is fantastic, very cinematic. And I think the coverage here is very important because it does point out exactly what I just said about the company tow truck, but it sheds more light on exactly how he's evading authorities right now, and it's very surprising.
It appears there was a passenger in the truck at the time, and despite the heavy damage to the front end, the angry customer drove away. Now, the truck had a logo on it, a solid lead, right?
The towing truck companies, sometimes they lend their trucks to each other.
So, he says police told him that doesn't identify the driver.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't have the driver's name on the side of the truck or anything. It's not like he had a flag that he was flying that said, "Here's who I am," or anything. But if you do a little, like, investigating, I feel like it should be easy, right? There'd be a paper trail of lending a fucking tow truck to another tow truck company or another person, right? There would absolutely be some kind of documentation on where this tow truck went if it was lent out. At least I would assume. Again, I'm not a fucking expert, but I can't imagine it's that difficult. That is one of the most fucking identifiable things he could have been driving. Like, it really can't be that hard to figure out where this tow truck came from, who lent it, and who did it get lent to. It should be a pretty easy trail to follow, I would guess. But maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking about it too naively. That's very possible as well. But this is just such a fucking wild situation all over chicken wings. Well, and it's not like he didn't get served food either. Like, it's not even that he's hangry, right? It's not even like it's not you when you're hungry type situation. The dude ate a full meal, chicken tenders, waffles, fish, and coleslaw, but then wanted wings instead. So he already had a full tummy, his belly was stuffed, but he just wanted some more, and they were like, "Hey man, it's about to close, how about no?" And that's what set all this shit off. Fucking wildness. And what's even wilder is not too long ago we had another situation where a woman crashed her car into a Popeyes because they were missing the biscuits from her order. So she threw her life away over some missing biscuits. There's no video footage of this one that exists. However, in my head, I picture it like Gears of War 3 when Dom crashes his vehicle into like the explosive shit that destroys some of the locusts. Like, she just leans her head back, like as she's about to crash into the restaurant, and she just thinks to herself, "This is worth it. The biscuits are worth it." As it all just fucking explodes in front of her here at the fucking Popeyes where she's crashing her car into because of the biscuits being absent. Point is, fast food work is dangerous. All types of unhinged lunatics enter these establishments and go berserk. And this is just another case of that happening, and this one just happened to have video footage around it, so I wanted to talk about it a bit. That's really about it. I'm wishing the best for the restaurant workers as well as just the entire establishment. Hopefully it can get back to 100% soon, and whoever was responsible for it gets held accountable. That's about it. See ya.
I mean, I know it's something to laugh about, but the whole thing is such ridiculous. It's such a trivial fucking matter. And this guy explodes. You know, he just fucking explodes. And you know, even though the person offered him a full refund for what he'd already ate, you know, that wasn't enough. The guy still got mad, ripped the door off the hinges, you know, got into a fight outside on the lawn. I mean, Jesus. I mean, and then he takes his damn tow truck and crashes it into the building. All this because of fucking chicken wings. You know, I feel like, you know, this kind of goes back to what I believe personally, okay, about everyday people, everybody, even me. You know, we all have that certain boundary that if we go past it, we lose our temper and we do things we don't intend to do. Everybody has that, okay? We all do. Some of us, that boundary is lower. Some, it's higher, okay? And if we are dealing with things already in life that have got us up to that, getting us touching that border, it doesn't take much to push us over the top, and then we cut loose. And I feel like today in today's America, and I can't speak for the rest of the world, but I'm just going to talk about in today's America from all the shit we see. I feel like there's a lot of people out there who are not in prison, okay, who have never committed a crime yet, but are at that fucking line where just the smallest fucking thing will set them over the edge, and all of a sudden all hell breaks loose. And I'll take like Chris Watts for an example, the fellow that killed his wife and his children and put him in a damn oil hole or whatever the hell it was that he put him in. Okay, remember that? I mean, everybody remembers that. That's a guy that nobody that knew this man ever thought he was capable of doing. You know, he seemed nice, you know, and everything, but he was covering a lot of stress. I think he was, okay? He wasn't happy with his marriage. I think things about his wife was annoying him, and he didn't like the idea that she was, you know, going to have another baby, you know, after, because they were hugely in debt, okay? And there was trouble in the marriage because of that. So he was under a lot of fucking stress. Then he meets this woman, and she might have said certain things to him. You know, a lot of people think, you know, she probably encouraged him to do what he did, but just saying that he was at the point where it is easy to push him over the top, and he just cut loose, all right? And then, you know, there's a lot of people in prison like that, never committed a heinous crime in their life, but that one fucking time they did, you know, they're in for life now. They're in for life, okay? And I think there's a lot of Americans today walking that same tightrope, where, you know, a little gust of wind could over the side. And I think that in a society like this, where our nerves are shot, okay, the last thing you want to do is let them have a gun. How many times do I have to say that? Okay? People should not have a gun in a society that is stressed out as it is now. And believe me, when Trump gets into office and we go through the next 4 years, you're going to see an elevation in people losing their fucking temper. Because the price of things is going to be higher. People are going to feel like they're under the gun because bills have got to be paid, and they have to choose what's more important, this or this. Okay? And people are going to be laid off, and they're not going to be able to make that choice in some cases, and they'll lose everything. People's stress levels are going to rise. And the thing is Republicans don't care, MAGA doesn't care, but they will care when they're one of the people that ends up losing what they have, or they're the ones that flip out and get in trouble for prison, you know, go to prison or whatever. We're all going to be going through that together in the next 4 years. And as bad as people think things are right now under Biden, they're going to relish these years under Biden after they go through those 4 years next with Trump, because it can get oh so much worse. I mean, when you got billionaires actually warning us that what Trump's planning is going to ruin the economy, that ought to give people pause. You know, do you see what I'm saying? I mean, if even people that are going to benefit from his tax cuts are saying you're going to wreck the economy, what you're doing, that should make people say, what are you doing? The people that you're catering to, coddling, these folks that you bring to your parties, that you go to their homes and stuff like that, these are your friends. And your friends are telling you, Trump, don't do this, don't put tariffs, because you're going to destabilize the whole fucking economy. Well, you know, with all that going on right now, okay, and then him making these big plans and picking these criminals here to sit in his goddamn cabinet there, or whatever you want, you know, stress levels are going to be at a point where you're probably going to see more people getting pissed off at chicken wings. Okay? You know, I'm just saying as an example here, okay? I'm not trying to make fun of this, but, you know, people have been going around saying, oh, the cost of eggs is too damn high. Well, if the cost of eggs was so high that they wanted to vote for Trump so they could lower them, they're going to be disappointed, because that's not going to affect a damn thing. It's probably going to make those prices higher because of what he wants to do. And, you know, I feel like, you know, this is a sign of where people are in America. It's like a snapshot. People are stressed out, okay? And I think we've been stressed out for a long time. You know, we were when Trump was president the first time, and we were going through COVID, and it was a bad time for all of us. So, you know, a lot of us still remember that. And, you know, amazingly, you know, we got through it, you know, but it was no thanks to Trump, okay? We had to pull together our governors had to stand in for the president in order to help their states to get through it. But it was of no thanks from Trump, okay, because he was out there trying to propagandize and politicize the fucking pandemic, which is, not going to stop it or help it or do anything, but just, agitate the public. But he's good at that because he didn't want the CDC to be the one getting the spotlight. He despised that. He's the president. He wants to be the only one to talk to the American people. So we're going to get more of that too, okay? We're going to get more of him fighting over the fucking microphone from other people that want to get in front of the camera. So, like I said, we as a side note, with gun control, I think gun bans are really necessity right now in this country because of the fact that we're all under extreme pressure from our government and the way things are in our society. And like I said, any one of us could be pushed over the edge, and do the unthinkable, I mean, here, you saw how far this went. Guy took his damn tow truck and plowed it right into the front of the damn restaurant. It didn't matter if he killed anybody. But, like I said, that's the way it is when people are already under stress and then something sets them off. Could be something completely ridiculous, like chicken wings. That's all it takes. And a lot of us are like that right now. And I'm telling you, we're going to see a lot of crime escalating in this country, and a lot of gun crimes probably as well. And that's not good. All right, here's another video here of a school teacher who kind of went off the deep end here a little bit. So let's go and watch that.
A high school teacher has been suspended after going on a rant about Donald Trump during class. And now the question is this the right move? There is only one place in America that I know of qualified to decide, and that is the Damage Report Court. Okay, so we're taking this up on appeals. Okay, this teacher who was suspended. Now, this concerns an instructor who is a history teacher at Valley View High School in Moreno Valley. Apparently called Donald Trump a, quote, rapist, draft-dodging coward during a lecture last Wednesday. A recording of the lecture was circulated on Twitter, so I guess there was at least one snitch who was recording the thing. But okay, you can do that. That's fine. So officials have not publicly identified either the person who recorded it or the professor. And so here is what the teacher apparently told the students. Can you end up with no human rights? Yes. Will it happen to you? Most likely not, which is a good thing. But as Donald Trump quoted Hitler? Yes. Does he embody some of Hitler's ideas? Yes. This S is not an effing game. Now, we are going to evaluate whether, having said all of that and perhaps more, justifies you being suspended. Let me just first say, did he say anything inaccurate? Is he an adjudicated rapist? Yes. Is he a draft dodger? 100%. Is he a coward? Well, at least insofar as he was a draft dodger, I suppose. He certainly didn't avoid service out of a sense of moral injustice in what we were doing. And all the stuff about quoting Hitler and the human rights and all that, like, you can say he shouldn't have said it. You can't say that he said anything inaccurate. And so we have a statement from the school district. We'll read that and then JR will rule. Okay. And over on Twitch right now, you can weigh in as well. So everyone should definitely vote. Should the teacher have been suspended? Okay, here's what the district said. We were recently made aware of an incident at one of our high schools in which a staff member's discussion about the election results turned unprofessional. We do not condone the behavior that occurred, and an immediate investigation has been launched. We recognize the heightened emotions surrounding the current political climate, and we deeply value the diversity of our community, which encompasses a wide range of perspectives and beliefs. Our goal is to foster a respectful and inclusive learning environment that supports all students. Now, students have protested the decision. There's a change.org petition for him to be reinstated that has 1,200 signatures, which is a lot for this. This is a very specific concern, and a lot of people are interested. And he reportedly apologized to several students after making the remarks. Many of the students had a protest to support him. So with all that context, JR, what do you think?
Yeah, maybe not to the degree of, they didn't fire him, it was like suspension, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be that way. Only because, again, all truth. I'm not sure if it was part of the lesson plan or if he was just going off on a tangent. But you can say he's speaking the truth about what it is that he is, because that's just it. But then again, it could inspire people who think the opposite, who are crazy enough to be like, well, let me tell you about, and then now it becomes a battle of teachers trying to push whatever it is that they want, which again goes to this, say something like, okay, so let's say that happens. And then now we got this back and forth. And now the students are hearing all this different stuff, and maybe they're, maybe they start having their divisions based off of this. It kind of, if your job is to keep the school kind of an even keel, you can have your approaches that understand the truth. But once it starts becoming an opinion of a teacher, this was real facts, but then opinions of teachers start coming to refute it because people think that their opinions are reality, then now we have a problem. Remember when the 10 Commandments was trying to get posted in all these classrooms in some states? Mm-hmm. Now, if that had happened, say at my kid's school, I'm going to show up each day with a different religion's doctrine, and I'll be like, I need to post this. Try and stop me, because it's the law, right? It's freedom of religion, because you got to put it right back in their faces for the stupidity of what they think religion is only Christianity. And then they're not going to like it. So they have to go back to normal equality and letting people just be who they are. And let's eliminate all this, because none of it has to do with whether or not their calculus test is correct. Only because I would have to take it to the next level of proving to you guys, trust me, you don't want to go down this road of us proving how ridiculous this is that you're going to push one personal thought over another.
So your ruling, should he have been suspended?
I mean, I wouldn't suspend him. Maybe give him a reprimand at first, just to let him know we can't do this.
So not suspended.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not suspended.
Well, the vote is continuing on Twitch, but it's already very clear. So I'm going to stop the vote. Stop the vote. 93% are currently saying that he should not have been suspended. Yeah. Okay. So, but I do want to. That you guys have already ruled, but I do want to let you know what I think. Now, look, I personally think I like when teachers are clear and they say things that are true but might be hard to hear. I had a professor in college who got real about politics, and I found that to be very motivating. But I will say, I also think there's a line that you can potentially cross into going too far. And so I don't know, like, part of me wants to be like, maybe it's acceptable to suspend him. But the issue is that I'm being told that we coastal elites don't understand the perspective of real people, and everybody needs to include more right-wing perspectives. So I'm going to set aside whatever I think, and I'm just going to take over. I'm going to take on the stance of a right-winger and rule that way. The cancel culture needs to end, people. I think we're canceling people for what they say. We don't have enough respect for freedom of speech. Oh, you said something I don't like, so you're done. You're fired. No, we can't do that anymore. Donald Trump would stand up for this professor's right to smear him and besmirch him, because Donald Trump cares that much about free speech. True. Donald Trump does, Elon Musk does, Tucker Carlson does, Joe Rogan does. Okay, it's a new era of free speech, and so every right-winger, I'm sure, right now is posting in favor of this teacher. And so my former lib self would have said he could be suspended, but no longer. Okay, let him go. Let free speech reign. Anyway, that was fun.
I like that approach. I think your answer was much better than mine.
We should be willing to admit we're wrong, okay, and incorporate new perspectives, new right-wing perspectives.
Well, I guess people can kind of in tongue-in-cheek kind of deal with this, but again, I think this is another sign of a teacher, and teachers have been hit pretty bad here as of late, and a lot of them, like I said before in other videos, a lot of them are just quitting. Fuck the retirement. I'm getting out of this, because it's no money in it for them. The kids are unruly. They're not trained as educators to deal with disciplinary issues. They're supposed to teach, okay? And they're complaining now, the parents of these kids that are so much trouble, they come down on the teacher for disciplining the kid, whatever. So you get no backing from the parents in most cases. And their hands are tied. So the whole system is really rigged against the teacher and their ability to teach. So I'm guessing that maybe that's kind of part of what was happening here with this history teacher when he went on his rant about Donald Trump and saying what he said. And the students were mad that he got suspended. So apparently the kids liked him, which means he probably wasn't, that bad of a teacher. Maybe he was really good with the kids. So the fact that he shows up to work one day and he says all these things, with profanity-laced rant, tells me that something happened that wasn't happening before, or something built up in him to let it loose in front of the kids about Donald Trump. I'm sure, there's a lot of people right now not happy. I mean, almost everybody at the clinic here, the VA clinic, is pissed off as hell that Trump's getting back in there. I mean, I've talked to all my doctors and everybody, and they're shaking their head. They just can't believe it, because, he said a lot of things about veterans that were insulting. He said a lot of things about what he wants to do with the VA system, and that was really, is causing them worry down there. But hey, people down, they can't really say anything, because the veterans, they don't know which veteran is for Trump and which isn't, so they have to keep it to themselves, what they're saying. But, I have, conversations with some, and I've already told them where I stand on things, so they know, who I'm Democrat. So they feel okay to talk about it, and I don't repeat what I hear, who said what. But, yeah, they're pretty upset. And, I can just imagine, the stress they could be under, because some of them might lose their job if there's some cuts brought down. And I'm sure this history teacher is probably feeling that way too, because, a lot of schools are probably going to be on the chopping block when they shut down the Department of Education, which is what Trump wants to do. They could be looking at early retirement, or just losing their job altogether. I've been saying this for a long time, that in the days to come, public schools are going to go the way of the dinosaur, because people are just going to find that it's impractical to bring your kid to a school where there's strangers and there's danger and there's, all these things that we're dealing with right now, they want to get away from. And it would be better just to have somebody come to their home and have an educator teach their kid, or, right in the house, especially when we have access to the internet and all this educational material that's there, So it makes more sense, I think, to keep these kids away from dangers and things, and of course, bad teachers as well. And should he have been suspended? In my opinion, yes, because in school with the kids, you can't really bring your personal issues in the classroom, okay? You're there to teach, okay? You're not there to spew your personal political views in the classroom. I mean, when you're teaching history, I guess, history teachers are going to be more politically active than, some who aren't. But him going in there and especially, swearing in front of those kids and stuff like that, as a parent, I would have had a problem with that. I would have understood what he was saying, but there's a better place to say it, and it ain't there in the classroom. And so, yes, I think a suspension, if a kid stood up in the classroom and said exactly the same thing to him, would that kid have to be suspended? Yes. He would have to be suspended. So if you're not going to let a kid do it, then you can't let a teacher do it. The teacher has to set the example in the classroom that the kids have to follow, to have respect between the student and the teacher. And every fucking a walk of life where you are in a place where you're being taught, there's that fucking barrier. You got to respect that. You have to respect it. Without it, things get all chaotic, and before you know it, it's out of control. So yes, I think he should have been suspended. I think he was, but I think that it was important that he got suspended. And I'm hoping that he wasn't taking it as the school hated him for it. It was just that they needed to set that example for the kids, that we cannot allow that here, that these adults have to act like adults. And when you guys screw up and like what they did, we're going to discipline you for that the same way. There are rules, and they have to be shown that this is the way it is in school. Okay? But like I said, you know, this teacher obviously was under a lot of stress, a lot of worries, and it's understandable that they would show up to school one day and they're probably like, I can't believe Trump won. You know, I could, you know, understand. You know, maybe he should have called in sick that day or something and just stayed home if he was going to explode. But you know, it's one of them things. We're all under stress, and it doesn't take much to set us off, to push us over the line. And we're going to go through all this together again for another 4 years with more stress on us. And some of you out there are probably going to do things you're going to later regret. You know, I hope it's not something so bad that, you know, you end up losing your freedom over. But when you feel like, you know, the stress is too much, reach out for help. Find somebody that'll help. Okay, have a safe system, you know, in place. You know, like, you know, therapists, or see a counselor. Talk to, you know, 911 or whatever the hell, you know, suicide line. Whatever there is, have it at hand. Okay, it's better to admit that you've taken too much, okay, and ask for help, okay, than it is to just simply ignore it, walk out the door and do your thing like normal, and then all of a sudden you flip out, because then you're going to look back and say, I should have fucking made that call, and I wouldn't be sitting here in the fucking jailhouse or whatever happened. Okay, do the right thing, do the responsible thing, you know. All right, so let's go to a commercial break, and we'll come back here with some more stuff.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you, original.
How stupid are the people of Iowa? How stupid are the people of the country?
We have people that are stupid.
There's something wrong with them. And there's something wrong with her, too. She's slow, low IQ.
She's a low IQ individual.
Low IQ individuals.
Well, you know, you think they're stupid, and they are really pretty dumb.
Stupid. She didn't know where the hell she was going.
Does she drink?
Is she on drugs?
Some of the dumbest people I've ever met in my life. A terrible, stupid person. And he's stupidly, because he's a stupid guy, too. He's a stupid son of a bitch. We have a guy who's a dumb son of a bitch.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay?
The Democrats say, please don't call them animals. They're humans. I said, no, they're not humans. They're not humans. They're animals. Root out the communists, Marxists, fascists, and the radical left thugs that live like vermin within the confines of our country.
But do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no, as a principle? There has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah, it has to be some form.
Let's put her with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face. Now, we're a failing country.
We are a failing nation. We are a nation in decline.
We are a nation in decline. We are a failed nation.
The American dream is dead.
Good morning, listeners. Hope you didn't oversleep today.
breaking the law, 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 breaking the law.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it. Write for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Welcome back. All right, I got this little 5-minute cartoon here. I don't know how they do this. I like how they do this commentary and they put an avatar of themselves in thing with that. I think that's kind of cool. I wish I could do that. I don't know how, but it seems kind of fun that you could create little cartoon places and stuff like that. But anyway, here's this little 5-minute video that talks about how MAGA is upset that people are cutting them off. And let's watch that here and we'll come back.
I've been watching an interesting phenomenon play out both here and on Facebook, and I would love to know if y'all are seeing this as well. Okay, here it is. Folks who voted for Trump don't want us to kick them out of our lives, to cut them off. They want to desperately present themselves as good people. I've seen it both from friends and relatives on Facebook. Like, please, I just voted for the economy. Politics isn't personal. This is a private decision and it doesn't have to get in the way of our friendship. But I've also seen it on this app where folks are like, hey, please don't stop following me. Please still like me and watch my content so I can get paid. I'm not a bad person. I'm just an independent. I just voted for lower gas prices and lower prices of eggs. We can still be mutuals. You can still watch my content. Or folks who are content creators and are like, unfollow me if you voted for Trump. I've seen folks in their comment section being like, no, we can agree to disagree. I can still like you. I can still follow you. Y'all literally voted against the safety, well-being, rights, and future of the folks you are now asking to continue to have relationships with you. Why are you so desperate to be perceived as not a bad person? As like, don't let our differences get in the way of our friendship. It's not that big of a deal. Like, why don't you just own what you did? Aren't you proud of what you did? Why are you so desperate to continue relationships with folks who you want to see deported, denied access to health care? folks whose lives will become immeasurably more burdened and stressful because of what you did. This desperate need to be perceived as a good person and to not be cut out of people's lives, the inability to handle the distress of other people not liking you, the distress of having to realize the consequences of your action are irreparably damaged relationships. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of when white people think that it is worse to be called racist, to have their racism pointed out to them, than it is for people to experience the racism that they are perpetuating. The discomfort, the agitation, the distress that it causes to have to face the fact that you are racist. You think that is worse than people experiencing racism. And I think there's some of the same going on here. You think it is worse for people to think badly of the choices you made than the harm that will be done by the choices that you made. You want to do the bad thing, but still be perceived as good and likable. It is worse to be disliked than it is to actively harm other people. I hate to say it, y'all are going to have to face the consequence of your actions. This is just the first hen returning to the coop, and all of your chickens are going to come home to roost. Trump voters who are upset that their loved ones, their neighbors, their friends, their book talk girlies are cutting them out, are blocking them, and you don't understand why. You don't understand why we can't just be nice to each other despite politics. I thought this quote was really apropos. You don't see me as a person, so I won't see you at all. We are making healthy boundaries to protect ourselves from people who will actively work against our safety, the health, well-being, and lives of our community members. We cannot change your behavior. The only thing we can do is create boundaries to protect us from your continued betrayal of us, of your neighbors, and frankly, of yourself. You have shown you will be complicit in your own oppression to gain some measure of proximity to power, some illusion that you're going to be the next Elon Musk. And that makes you dangerous. You voted for us to lose our rights, so now you lose access to us altogether. Okay, so I was talking about how it's okay to establish boundaries with Trumpers, to say, I'm not going to give you access to me or my children because you have demonstrated that you are not safe. You will vote against my well-being. You will throw me under the bus for your pipe dream of lower gas prices, or because you hate Black women more than you love me. And I was saying that we cannot change Trumpers' behavior. We cannot change anybody else's behavior. The only thing we can do is make decisions to protect ourselves from that behavior. We can only control our behavior. If you've seen my videos on how to protect yourself from toxic boomer parents, this message from me is not a new one. And one of those folks asks, how are you not pushing your views on others and even threatening people to exclude them in your life? Again, I've covered this many times when talking about toxic parents. Establishing a boundary is not a threat. I'm not making any threats. I am making choices about my own behavior. I'm not asking you to change your behavior. There's no threat involved. Your choices have consequences, and now you will have to face them. Why are the Trumpers in our lives so upset that we are establishing healthy boundaries? We are withdrawing, we're disconnecting. We're saying you're facing the logical consequence of your actions. You aren't a safe person, and so therefore I will protect myself from you. And I thought this was an interesting comment, and I totally agree with it. These folks know the benefit of the community they will now be losing out on because of their voting choices. It's weird how folks who vote for toxic individualism in their own self-interest still understand that they need people and get distressed at the idea of not having access to that help in that community. What are they going to do now when they need someone to drive them to the Planned Parenthood and they definitely can't tell their husband or their boyfriend or their mom? What's going to happen when the folks who were willing to extend themselves, give of their labor and energy, are now choosing to give that labor and energy to folks who didn't undermine our rights, didn't vote to increase our suffering? The distress at losing those connections and that support, I think, is a significant component of this. I think it'll be a good lesson in community for them.
Yeah, so, they want to be seen as good people, and we all do, but it's hard to look at you as a good person when you support, such a negative, and destructive agenda, okay? When you want to impose your values on other people who don't agree with them, that in itself is a very nasty thing to do because, hey, we're supposed to all be individuals and we're supposed to all respect each other's privacy. And, nobody has the right to, come and tell you or knock on your door and say, you can't do this, it's against God and all this and that and stuff. I mean, it's like, hey, don't come to me. Don't preach to me about what I can or can't do, okay? If I want to believe in your God, I will. If not, I'm not gonna. You know, and you know, that might piss these people off, but at the same time, they got to remember what country they're living in. Okay, this is not supposed to be a country where people are allowed to impose their worldviews on you, and you just have to swallow it. And that's what MAGA, you know, has been doing. What they did for 4 years at Trump the first time, and after he lost, they were still out there doing this shit. I mean, they got the Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade, you know, and it's like, you know, who the hell are they? You know, the court before them that upheld Roe v. Wade knew and understood the value of American rights and people's privacy. You know, the government has no right to go into your hospital or in your home and tell you what you can or can't do in these places. Okay? They got no right to that. That's your fucking, you know, private matter. All right? And I understand people have a right to protest abortion. Okay? I see that almost all the time I'm driving up Mount Hope Avenue. Okay? People out there with their anti-abortion signs. Okay, fine. I don't mind that, okay, as long as they ain't jumping out in front of my truck and trying to throw rocks through my window because I don't agree with them. But if they're going to peacefully protest that, okay, fine. You know, but just don't go knocking on people's doors and saying our way is the right way and the way you're doing things is wrong. They don't understand everybody's situation, okay? Every situation, every family, every individual is going through unique situations that they can't have a blanket fucking rule for, because life is so full of shades of gray. You know, you can't just ban anything in this country, you know. And I mean, I even think some people like MAGA would agree to that, because when Democrats talk about banning guns, they have a fit about that. So when you talk about banning abortion, you know, aren't the same principles there as to why you shouldn't ban that the same as why you shouldn't ban guns? I mean, come on, think about it. You know, they think people have a right to their guns. Not everybody's you get that. Not everybody's a criminal. Well, hey, people have a right to their abortion, and not everybody getting an abortion is doing it because they want to do it, you know, it's a fun thing to do, you know. They're doing it because of situations that they never told you, okay? They keep to themselves because it's not your business to know why they're getting an abortion, and you shouldn't be sitting in their hospital room telling people, okay, you know, you can't have that. So if these people, like, you know, MAGA, want people to stop kicking them out of their lives and to be looked at as a good person, they can begin, okay, by changing their attitude around other people, by stopping the support of folks like Trump, who are simply going in there on their own agenda, has nothing to do with you, but are going in there after having said the things they want to do that's going to make life worse and more stressful for other people. Okay, stop supporting folks like that are going to make things worse in the country. Okay, and maybe people will look at you in a better way with a little more respect, because they say, well, you know, he might support Trump, but, you know, he doesn't agree with everything Trump wants to do. But all of you people had cameras thrust in front of your faces about Trump and told, well, what do you think about this that he stands for, and what about that? And you people really couldn't answer the question that satisfied, you know, the people asking you, because your answers were basically just, oh, well, we trust him. Okay, you trust him. That doesn't mean everyone has to trust him. Okay, some of us see this guy and they don't trust him because they understand what he's trying to do and what might happen if he does it. But you guys don't seem to care if something bad happens, you know, like the tariff situation. I mean, yeah, I know a lot of you people didn't even know what the hell that word meant, which is sad, because, you know, that's something that you're taught when you're in high school, you know, when you're in civics class and stuff, and how government is run. You know, we went over tariffs and taxes and all that shit when I was in there. I remember these fucking lessons, okay? But apparently you guys weren't listening, and you know, I don't know why, but you know, we talk about taxes all the time in this country. If you're involved in politics the way I am, you hear that come up all the time. So you never really forget what a tariff is and what a tax is. Okay? So a lot of you people went into this thing with your eyes wide open, but you didn't have any understanding of what you were hearing. Trump made it sound like he was going to punish them. That's how he sold the idea to you. He misguided you by telling you that these tariffs are going to punish them, okay, and get even with them. And you guys who hate China, you allowed your hatred to cloud the idea, you know, of looking up what a tariff is. You just thought, well, he hates them too, so he must know what he's talking about. You just assume. You go through life assuming that, you know, Trump was doing this. But, you know, you can't afford to do that when it comes to politics. If there's something that just don't sound right, fucking look it up. And I know some of you people probably heard him say these things, but, you know, you didn't really understand 100% what he meant by that, and you should have looked it up. But when Democrats tried to tell you what he was going to do, you know, because figuring you guys weren't going to look it up, you say, ah, fuck you. You know, you guys are just trying to sell us disinformation. That's what we were getting from you guys. And, of course, all that did was encourage you not to look. But then, after he wins the election, and, you know, everybody, even the people you were listening to, you know, like Fox News and all them, were talking about what these tariffs could mean to this country, then all of a sudden you people started to look it up. Because now you're worried. That's why we know you looked it up, because you're worried. A lot of people are pissed now. But again, you want us to look at you as good people, but you have to earn that. You can't just have people bestow, you know, that on you, that you're a good person. Okay? You got to prove it. These people that walked out of your lives now, some of them you may never get back. Others you might be able to if you know, redeem yourself by understanding, being more understanding. Okay? And stop with this fucking black and white thinking that you guys do. All right? Because life is not black and white. There is no yes, there is no fucking no. Okay? Every situation, billions of people on this planet, each fucking one of them is unique, just like fingerprints. Okay? And they all have a set of circumstances that does not relate to you. And you cannot make blind judgments on a whole group of fucking people that you don't even know and say they're all wrong. Really. You know every single one of these people, right? That's what you're saying. You don't know that, and that's bullshit. You're an idiot to put yourself out on that limb. Okay, when you go around saying stuff like that. And that's why we can't see you as good people. We see you as flawed, seriously flawed people, okay? And so for some of you, you're pretty mean-spirited about it too, but you're not people that we really want to be around, you know? And the fact that you're involved in politics and you have a right to vote scares the hell out of us, because now we see that, hey, you people are voting on things you don't even understand. Okay, you just showed us that everything we said about MAGA was true. That you guys are really in the dark about a lot of things. You thought Trump was going to do this. You thought Trump was going to do that. And he hasn't even sworn in yet. And he's already letting you people down. He's already backing away from promises he made. Okay, he's already implementing things that he said was going to hurt them. But now we're finding out it's going to hurt us. You people are being betrayed every single day when he comes out and says something. He's picking people who are unqualified for the jobs that he's asking them to do. All right? So, like I said, this is the reason why we don't like you, is because you're not following a set of standards on how to select people to do the right thing. Okay? You're going by your instinct, you're going by your emotion, you're going by, you know, how he makes you feel. Okay, these are not the way you pick leaders. Okay, I'm sorry, that's not the way it works. All right, so let's go to this other video here about you know, Kiev. This is actually a video from the Kiev Independent. It's a news outlet over there, and they got some video of Joe Rogan talking crap about Ukraine and the reaction some of the Ukrainian people have over what he's been saying. So let's go to that video here.
The weirdness of people.
In the recent podcast, Joe Rogan, a famous American podcaster, insulted Zelensky and Ukrainians, criticizing the Biden decision of ATACMS supply to Ukraine. Today, Kyiv Independent is going to ask Ukrainians to find out their reactions regarding Joe Rogan's comments about Ukraine.
What I don't feel safer is right now they're launching missiles. How are you allowed to do that when you're on the way out? Like, the people don't want you to be there anymore. This should be like some sort of a pause for like significant actions that could potentially start World War III.
Чесно, приїзди, поживи тут, зрозумій насправді, що відбувається, своїми якимись там заголовками. Можливо, ти на когось і працюєш, тому такі блогери, як ти, мабуть, купляються.
Де він там живе? Звідки? Ну, то нехай він приїде в Київ, нехай приїде в Україну, подивиться все своїми власними очима, а тоді робить якісь висновки. Тому що за стільки тисяч кілометрів то важко оцінити ситуацію. Я думаю, що він просто не відчуває і не розуміє, що відбувається в світі.
Цей подкастер, він переносить відповідальність з росіян на нас. Насправді все не так. Насправді не ми почали війну, і відповідальність абсолютно на них лежить за можливий початок Третьої світової і так далі. That's all.
Zelensky says Putin is terrified. F*** you, man. F*** you people. You f***ing people are about to start World War III.
Якби я прокоментувала цю ситуацію, напевно, теж f*** you. Що ще можна сказати? Це образливо.
Не ми розпочали цю війну, і взагалі це більша відповідальність лежить саме на Росії, на Путіна за те, що він розпочинає Третю світову війну.
Дивно, що американці, я вважала, що вони є вічливі, такі виховані люди, тому що це просто образливо, то, що він каже по відношенню до нас.
It's not like nobody knows we've been funding this. It's a proxy war. The whole thing is f***ing insane. It's insane. Come to the negotiation table. Sit down. Work this out. Stop killing everybody.
Якби Штати так само виконували всі домовленості з приводу безпеки країн і їх державності, то цього б не було. А зараз сідати нас за перемовини ми домовлялися вже давно, мабуть. З самого початку, коли стала незалежна Україна, коли ми відмовились від ядерної зброї, коли ми порізали всі свої заводи, літаки віддали і так далі, це теж були домовленості, але чомусь вони не спрацювали. Тому зараз які домовленості можуть спрацювати? Допоможіть тоді зброєю, яка проксі-війна? Зараз все проксі-війна, вона все зараз відбувається в інтернеті, маніпуляція в головах, так само і вони зараз сидять і маніпулюють думками людей.
Якби на нього нападали десь там в Америці, на бензозаправці, наприклад, приставляли йому ніж до горла, то як би він би зміг перемовити? Якщо він знає якісь формули, якісь сценарії, як можна домовлятися в таких обставинах, коли в тебе стоїть ніж на сонній артерії, то не просто... Так, я вважаю. Важко говорити, коли тебе вбивають.
Скажіть матерям, дітям, дружинам закатованих людей про переговори, про те, що можна якось домовитися, коли не можна повернути дітей закатованих.
Also, Zelensky, can I get a drug test? Can we just get one drug test before we send you any more money? Like, what are you doing? This is like cocaine, like, baby. Putin's scared, man.
Yeah.
Putin's terrified.
Jacked up.
We got him, man. We got him.
Like, what are you talking about? He has nuclear missiles, you monkeys. Jesus Christ.
Я думаю, що Зеленський же не один, за ним стоїть команда, тому він представляє команду, країну, тому нас всіх мають перевірити на наркотики. В мене немає наркотиків особисто. Дякую.
Ця людина, яка це говорить, вона не була у стані війни 3 роки, як наш пан президент. І те, наскільки він вже втомлений, наскільки в нього вже немає сил, то можна подумати будь-що. Він може з їх слів
употребляти будь-що, ну тобто будь-який наркотик, який вони там собі уявили.
Ну, мені, по-перше, не сподобалась маніпуляція в цьому відео, що я скину тобі гроші, якщо ти скинеш мені тест на наркотики, чи якось так. Для мене це дуже дивна фраза, дуже дивний вираз, який звучить в сторону глави нашої держави. Вот. В цілому, я не думаю, що президент України взагалі таким займається, мені так не здається. От. В цілому, слова цього персонажа дуже дивні, дуже якісь некоректні, я б так сказала, тому питання до нього, чи він нічого не вживає перед тим, як це казати. От, все.
So, yes, I mean, you could see how people are, you know, it's sad that, you know, the people that they were thanking America for helping them, right? They're now seeing that because of certain people like Joe Rogan, Donald Trump, and others in Fox News, they have been working on us to turn against them for months and months now, since that war, okay? They've been working on the American people to turn against Ukraine. And Ukrainian people are shaking their head, you know, and saying people like Joe Rogan don't even understand what the hell they're talking about. Okay? He doesn't see what's happening over here on a daily basis. He doesn't know the fight that our people are putting up to keep a guy who's invaded our country for no goddamn good reason and killed so many of our innocent people, children, you know, and some of these goddamn troops that they're bringing over are criminals out of prison who raped and done all kinds of nasty things. How can you stand on the side of that? You know, that's taking the side of the devil as far as I'm concerned. But you guys, you know, in MAGA, you hail Joe Rogan as your mouthpiece, just like you did Alex Jones, okay? And look what's become of that man. But you're taking Joe Rogan now as your new spokesperson for your group. And the things that he's been saying about Ukraine and calling them monkeys and all this shit and that, okay, he's out there doing what Putin can't do right now on his own here in this country. He can't come up with a internet show to broadcast here in the United States to do what Joe Rogan's doing. So Joe Rogan's doing it for him. Okay, he's doing all that Putin would like to do for to the American people. He's spitting out propaganda. Okay, trying to turn heads, to try to force people, well, not force people, but mislead people into thinking that Ukraine is the bad guy here. And, you know, just today, Zelensky had said that, you know, if it could bring a stop to the war or peace, he would be willing to relinquish some territories that Russia has taken and let them keep it, if it meant putting a stop to this. Does that sound like a guy who's trying to just destroy Russia? Of course not. If Joe Rogan was right about Zelensky, then Zelensky wouldn't care less about how many people he would be killing to continue this fight. But he does care about his people. Some people are, you know, because he was a comedian, they're all making fun of him because he was a comedian who destroyed his country. No, he's actually a man with balls, okay? And the people over in Ukraine love this guy because he could have fled Ukraine as this thing's been going on, but he wouldn't. He's staying right there with his troops, and he's staying right there fighting us out with him, okay? He hasn't left. Putin, on the other hand, he's where the hell he's hiding. I don't know. He certainly ain't in Moscow. Okay, so wherever the hell he's at, he's not on the front lines, he's not fighting in this thing. Zelensky is. Okay, that's a goddamn leader. Okay, that's a fucking leader. That's something that even Donald Trump couldn't do. He dodged the draft, okay, because he didn't want to fight, you know, in the war, just like, you know, other people in the right wing did when Vietnam was going on. But and you know, the thing is that with what's happening in Ukraine and this constant fight, you know, Russia escalated this by dragging in North Korea. Okay, so what's Ukraine supposed to do? Just roll over and take it? No. Would the United States, you know, the leaders in the United States ask us to roll over if Canada wanted to invade us? Okay, would we be told, oh, you shouldn't fight? The Canadians are right to invade you, and and all that. How would we feel about that if there was a Joe Rogan in some other country that was criticizing Americans for defending their goddamn country? Okay, would you feel like that son of a bitch needs to shut up or come over here and find out what it's like? That's what these people are going through right now in Ukraine. They're hearing some big mouth across the ocean who hasn't set one foot in Ukraine and saw anything about what's happening there. Hasn't gone through the hardships that those people have been going through. Okay, hasn't seen the injustice of what the Russian military and what Putin has delivered onto these people, okay? Hasn't seen any of that, but yet he's safely ensconced inside American borders, in front of a camera, on his little radio show, well, not radio, but he's on his little internet podcast, and he's running his big fucking mouth, okay? What is it with Republicans anyway when they have a camera? Like Rush Limbaugh, Joe Rogan, Alex Jones. I mean, these people, they have a talent of being bloated and big-mouthed and, what I'm saying? They're just, you could tell they all have the same shtick. They're all propagandists, okay? They're all demagogues. They're all out there just to stir the shitstorm, okay? They bring no fucking facts to the table. They have no intention to debate or discuss things with the other side, okay? It's always about them saying what they have to say, and if you don't like it, fuck you, and if you do, tune in the next day, okay? They don't care. And so Joe Rogan would never sit here and talk to Zelensky, okay? He would never do that, because then he'd look like the fool, because Zelensky would talk him right into a fucking wall, and you know what I'm saying? He just wouldn't last. These people in Ukraine, he would never go and talk to these people himself, okay? Because they know better than he does what's going on there, okay? And if he spent a week in Ukraine right now and go to some of them cities and towns that are blasted out of existence here, and saw how the people that are still living in those destroyed areas, okay? What do you think? Like I said, we have too many of these people in this country, and we don't have checks and balances to make sure that the stuff that they tell people is factual. All right, even the internet doesn't do a very good job of that. Okay, there's sometimes if people post something about China on YouTube, that will get taken down. Okay. Makes you wonder. I mean, what the hell's that about? Are they supporting China or whatever? But it gives you pause that if they're that vigilant about things like that, why do they let somebody like Joe Rogan spew hatred and shit like that and tell people out and out lies? Okay, why do they let that go on? So, like I said, the internet does a pretty bad job of, keeping itself clean. For people to get information, but they don't do such a very good job when it comes on the other side. It's really sad. But I feel bad for those people because they watched it. The guy, the interviewer had brought the video to them to see, and you could tell it was, I felt embarrassed, but. It kind of reminds me back during the Vietnam era when Vietnam veterans were coming home and everybody was outside screaming baby killer and all that shit at them. That's what propaganda did to this country then, okay? Propaganda. They had convinced these people that every fucking soldier that came back from Vietnam was over there slaughtering and doing all kinds of nasty shit, which... I'm not saying none of that, some of that didn't happen, but it wasn't on the scale that they were told, like every single veteran over there, every soldier over there was doing that. No, my father went over there, he didn't do any of that. But he remembers when he came home and stepped off the airplane, they were all out there, screaming at him and throwing shit and spitting at him and everything. It was propaganda that brought those people there to do what they did, okay? And here we are, we're doing this to other countries now. We got the propagandists right here in this country attacking another country for their trying to defend their homeland, okay? The only difference between the Ukrainian people and the American people is that in America we would attack our own capital, but over there they defend it. You know, and I think maybe that's one of the things that Joe Rogan just will never say or admit to on the air, is that, you know, his party was the party that tried to destroy our own capital on, you know, January 6th. But over in Ukraine, these people will fight to the last man, okay, to defend Kyiv. And that's you know, I think the thing that makes MAGA look bad is that these are the cowards talking to the brave, trying to tell them, you know, how they should be fighting this war. You know, they're not going to surrender. All right, so that's it for today. So I hope everybody has a great work week, and subscribe, comment, and share, and keep your ears open for any health-related issues. And please treat each other nice out there as we go into holiday season. And I will talk to you later, so take care, everybody. Bye-bye.